Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is most definitely time. Hello, everybody. What is going on? It is I, the one and only Garrick Skywalker. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday today. That is what day I am filming this, and it is getting uploaded today. Mark my words. All right, let's say hello to a little friend of mine known as C-3PO. How you doing, 3PO?
I'm not much more than an interpreter, and not very good at telling stories. Well, not at making them interesting, anyway.
Alright, let's say hi to R2 real quick. R2, my man. R2, how you doing, buddy? Alright, that's great. Yeah, I know.
With all we've been through, sometimes I'm amazed we're in as good condition as we are. What with the rebellion and all.
You have nothing to say about that, R2? Of course not. I thought not. Okay, that's enough. Alright, 3PO might say another word or two, because when it does that, that means the lights in his eyes are shutting off. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. Today we're here to talk about, first and foremost, my mini review of my personal Star Wars Episode 7, Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Mindor. Now, why is this, over Force Awakens, my personal Star Wars Episode 7? Well, I can give you a few reasons for that. Number one, the sequels suck. Major balls. And I'm not apologizing for that. Now, let me be clear. If you like the sequels and they're your canon, that's totally fine. They're not my canon because to me they are not good enough to be canon. They break the canon. Number two, they disrespect everything George Lucas set up in the Star Wars universe with 1 through 6. And even what the people that made the old expanded universe set up with what is now known as Star Wars Legends, which to me is the true canon after Return of the Jedi. Now, that does not mean I don't accept certain things as canon of the new canon, like Mandalorian, and even things before the sequels like Solo, Rogue One, Star Wars Rebels, Jedi Fallen Order, things like that. I can accept as canon. But the sequel trilogy, I call it the Disney fanfiction trilogy because it is not canon to me, because it disrespects everything George Lucas set up. It breaks the canon. It breaks the rules of the Star Wars universe. It doesn't care about the rules of the Star Wars universe. They don't care about the fans. They crapped on the fans that have been fans for years, even the ones that, like me, who both, and just people in general that love the prequels. They crapped on us. The original fans, the fans of just the original trilogy, they crapped on. And I'm a fan of the original trilogy, and they crapped on some of my favorite characters like Luke Skywalker. Yeah, that's fine, 3PO. No, but seriously, they literally crapped on one of my all-time favorite characters, Luke Skywalker. That does not go unpunished. So this is why, as you can see right here, all this mini shrine of 1 through 6, right here, it's only 1 through 6, and of course I have the Indiana Jones trilogy right there. And then of course I also have this beauty right here, Mace Windu's lightsaber. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I display it. But anyway, this book right here is my episode 7. Now you might be wondering, Kirk, what are your episode 8, what are your episode 9? I'll tell you what my episode 8 and my episode 9 are. My episode 8 is a little video game known as Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. And my episode 9 is the sequel to that, Star Wars Jedi Knight 3, better known as Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Now, that's because Luke Skywalker's in both of them for one thing, which, even though, for me, the Skywalker saga truly ends in episode 6, the continuation of Star Wars, for me, is the old expanded universe. Those two video games are in the realm of the Star Wars expanded universe. Now, they are not considered canon by Disney, I know. But to me, they are. They will always be. Because the sequels have shown that they do not care about canon. They even have said, there's people in interviews like Lawrence Kasdan, Larry Kasdan himself, who wrote the script of The Empire Strikes Back, and the script for Raiders of the Lost Ark, even though that's Indiana Jones. He wrote the script for two of the most legendary films ever created, Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark. He literally said back in the 80s, it's Not My Star Wars, go look up Not My Star Wars YouTube channel. Look up Larry Kasdan interview. Not My Star Wars has caught him. Now granted, if you just look it up, you could probably catch him yourself, but he caught him himself and he even proved it. There's an interview from the 80s when Return of the Jedi was coming out. In 1982, there's an interview with Larry Kasdan saying, if you're gonna do Star Wars, and this is just his voice. I don't have a problem with him personally. This is just his voice, so I'm just gonna do it because he is a hypocrite. Well, if you're gonna do Star Wars, you gotta do it with George's approval. And then this is him, literally, like, in 2015, way before Star Wars The Force Awakens came out. Disney's Episode 7, I should say. No, the first part of the Disney fanfiction trilogy. This is exactly what he said then. We want to do something outside of the canon realm, something fun, something new. Okay, now I don't have a problem with that. But here's the problem. They were calling this canon. If you're going to call this canon, you can't call this canon because you literally said in the 80s, well, if you're going to do a Star Wars movie, you have to do it in the realm of the universe, and you have to do it with George's approval. The man, George Lucas, gave you a script. 3 scripts for a sequel trilogy. And you threw it away like garbage. And you made your garbage. Now granted, I will say this. In isolation, Force Awakens is fine. I have no problem with Force Awakens. Absolutely none. Other than the fact that Rey's a Mary Sue and literally is perfect at everything she does. Other than that, and them pretty much making it complete ripoff of Episode 4 New Hope, just with a bigger Death Star that can destroy more planets at once, I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was cool. It was cool to see Han and Chewbacca and Leia and 3PO and R2, and at the end Luke Skywalker, they set him up. And then they fricked him over in Episode 8 and made him this absolute beta cuck. It's just unbelievable. And then Episode 9, they continually ruined it. They literally make Rey commit identity fraud for something she has not even earned. She takes the name of Skywalker. They made her a Palpatine when they were literally setting her up in Episode 7 and 8 to be a Kenobi. And they took her, and yeah. So that's why it just breaks all rules of canon. That just breaks all rules of canon. And you can't do that if you're going to make this a canonical continuation. You can't make this this is why you can't call it a canonical continuation to Return of the Jedi. You just can't do it. Now, this book takes place exactly 6 months after Return of the Jedi. It takes place in the year 5 ABY. Now, what that means is Return of the Jedi takes place in the middle of 4 ABY, meaning it was in the 6th month of the year 4 ABY when the main events of Return of the Jedi take place. 6 more months pass, you get to Shadows of Mindor and the main events there. Now basically, what happens is Luke Skywalker, Han, Chewie, Leia, 3PO, Lando, R2, the whole gang's here. Luke gets caught near Mindor and also the planet of Taspin 2, which is a radioactive planet. Lord Shadowspawn, who was a former Imperial warlord basically, and he was one of Palpatine's right-hand men. Again, in the expanded universe, Palpatine has a lot of right hands. Vader obviously being the main one because he's the main canon one. Underneath Vader would have been the Inquisitors in the new canon, obviously, which I do consider canon. You have Mara Jade, who was another one of the Emperor's main hands. You had Car Vastor, who was one of Palpatine's elite Imperial Royal Guards, the ones that wear the red armor in Return of the Jedi. And then you had Black Hole. Obviously, you also had Thrawn, who eventually comes back in the expanded universe, but you had Thrawn as well. And Tarkin. And all the other warlords after him. But basically, Colonel Black Hole, as he's also known, aka as his character he makes up, Lord Shadowspawn, wants to infuse himself into Luke Skywalker's body and basically become Emperor Skywalker and take over the galaxy in Luke Skywalker's body. He does end up putting these crystalline infusions into Luke Skywalker's DNA. So he doesn't bleed and he has all this pain and ringing. And it's this new connection. It's a new connection to the Force and the dark side that is very, very unique, and it's very disturbing. And basically, it pretty much tells you, this dark side entity pretty much tells you there was only the darkness. There was only dark. And it pretty much makes Luke forget everything for a second. Like, he pretty much forgets that he even exists. And eventually, when Luke breaks free, thanks to a guy named Nick, who is from Mace Windu's planet, and he actually knew Mace Windu during the Clone Wars, along with Luke's father, Anakin. Nick basically helps Luke escape. Luke helps him escape. There's also these black armored stormtroopers. Now, later on, at the end of the book, you find out that they have armor made of melt mastiff. So when Cornell dies, when Cornell, Black Hole Lord, let's just call him Lord Shadowspawn. When Lord Shadowspawn dies, or like gets away and escapes, he ignites something before he escapes off of Mindor, as it's literally collapsing and blowing up from the inside out. The armor that the black stormtroopers have on them is made of melt mastiff, which is this mineral that's from the planet of Mindor. Now, it's not something you want on you, because as soon as it comes off of you, it like rips your body in half, and it like basically thousands of black armored stormtroopers at the end of the book, they just die in absolute agony. I mean, Luke says, all I can hear is the ringing and the screaming of 1,000 voices in the Force. That's what Luke can hear. And Luke actually feels guilty, because he lets Shadowspawn escape, essentially, before Nick catches up with him. And Nick doesn't end up catching up with him. Nick doesn't. And Luke just feels awful, because he let all these thousands of people die, including the rebels that were on Nick's team, Nick's girlfriend's team. Nick's girlfriend being this Aona girl. And she actually betrays Han and actually steals the Falcon from him because she needed to get Nick back. Han and Leia get stuck on the planet for a while, and they're going through these caves along with Chewie. Meanwhile, Lando is with C-3PO and Mandalorians under a guy named Fen Shisa. He's their leader, and they're trying to have negotiations with them at the same time while this conflict on Mindor with Luke Skywalker and Lord Shadowspawn is taking place. You also see, of course, Rogue Squadron, which used to consist of Luke, because Luke was the leader. And in the new canon, it's named after Rogue One, the group of Rogue One, meaning Jyn Erso and her group from the movie Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, which I like. I like that touch now. Back then, it wasn't that at all. But anyway, Luke Skywalker used to lead it. He still technically is in command of it, but he doesn't do any of the flying missions anymore, because now he's a Jedi, and now he's having to rebuild the Order. And now that's what Luke wants to focus on near the end of the book. He wants to just take a break, collect himself, collect the writings of Ben Kenobi and Yoda, and just practice the Force, and then eventually he will go on to restarting the Jedi Order. Now, granted, that takes a few years, and he doesn't really full-on start it until about, I would say, after the Thrawn trilogy is when he really starts to begin starting it. Unless there's some other book before the Thrawn trilogy in the Expanded Universe canon that I don't know about, let me know in the comments down below if there is something I'm missing. But overall, dude, it's a very dark story, and that's what I love about it, because it's not as light or as 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. 3, obviously, Revenge of the Sith is the darkest of this true Skywalker saga, what I like to affectionately refer to it as the complete saga, because that's what it is. It's a complete saga. 7 through 9 do not exist in canon. Now, they're canon for Disney canon. They're not Star Wars canon. That's what I'm saying. Disney can have it as their canon. And the Disney canon, that's totally fine. Because you know what? At the end of the day, the sequel trilogy characters, they're not Star Wars characters. They're Disney characters. And that's all they will ever be. They are garbage Disney characters. End of story. And the sequel trilogy is not canon. It's not Disney. That is not Star Wars. That is Disney Star Wars. Now, you can make the argument that everything that is in the new canon is Disney Star Wars canon. That's fair. But I still say it's good enough to be main canon for Star Wars canon. For plain Star Wars canon. Like Fallen Order, Rebels, Rogue One, Solo. Those are good enough to be canon for the most part. They have their issues, but guess what else has their issues? Even the main vanilla has its issues. The original trilogy has issues. Not many, but it does have some issues. The prequel trilogy had issues as well. Clone Wars had issues. Force Unleashed had issues. Force Unleashed 2, the Expanded Universe, there was a lot of continuity errors. There is, but it's still a better canon. And Luke, of course, shows off his amazing skills. And you see a side of Luke Skywalker in this book right here that you don't see in the Disney sequel trilogy, which was so disappointing. You don't see the hopeful, optimistic Luke Skywalker that you see in this book that we saw at the end of Return of the Jedi. You don't see that. Now, granted, we saw that in Mando Season 2, but even then, where is that going to lead? Where are they leading that to? I don't know. But you see Luke get used to his new powers. He honestly almost loses hope in being a Jedi anymore. He doesn't even, near the middle of the book, when he's struggling to get off the planet and figure out how to save his friends, he doesn't know whether or not he can be a Jedi anymore. Because he's just so, he's in this trance by Shadow Spawn and the Dark, this entity of the Force. And Luke actually, at the end of the book, signs off his commission as general. Because he just does, he believes he is not fit to be a general. Now, that takes a lot of gut intuition to know whether or not you're fit for the job or not. Because some people would just keep doing the job and be like, oh, I'll be fine. It's okay. I just let 1,000 lives die. It takes a lot of conviction. I'm not saying Luke was wrong by that, because that wasn't his fault. That was Shadow Spawn who killed them. But Luke feels responsible for that because he couldn't save them, because he didn't act fast enough, and because he doubted himself for the middle of the book. But then he got hope back, and he said, no, I'm a Jedi. And you know what's interesting is Shadow Spawn even says to Luke, you know, I knew the Jedi of old because he used to serve in the Republic Army during the Clone Wars with Luke's father Anakin. And he said, Luke Skywalker, I never liked you, but I will say this. I respect you for this. You want to know why? Unlike the Jedi Knights of old, you, Luke Skywalker, are not afraid of the dark. And you know what? That is true. To a certain extent, that is very true. Because if you look at the prequels, the Jedi of that era want absolutely nothing to do with the dark side. They want absolutely nothing to do with the dark side. Absolutely jack diddly squat to do with the dark side. None whatsoever. So if you really think about it, he's right. Luke is not afraid of the dark. Now, he does obviously have his doubts sometimes, as we all do as human beings. But Luke's like, no, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let this guy defeat me. I am a Jedi like my father before me, and I am better. And technically, he's even better than his father. He doesn't say that, but I am a Jedi, and I am not going to give up hope, and I'm going to fight this to the bitter end. And then he ends up having the upper hand, and he believes in himself, and he trusts in the Force, the true Force, the living Force. And he defeats Shadow Spawn in his own game, and he defeats him without having to kill him. Like he did with his father Vader. He said, I'd cut your arm off, but I am not going to give in to the dark side and kill you and join Palpatine. I'm going to sacrifice myself for you because I love you. Because I am not going to give in. And he proves that to Palpatine, that he is not going to stoop down to the dark side's level. And then, of course, Han and Leia have some good moments. Han, of course, is always funny as always. 3PO and R2 are classic characters. And R2 is a lad. 3PO, still his nervous self, but we love him. He's 3PO. Lando's his smooth, general self, whatever. But you actually see Lando being a real leader here, like he is in Return of the Jedi. And I really like seeing that once again as well. Fenn Shista and the Mandalorians, it's cool to see them and see them in action. Because it honestly does tie into what will be 4 years later, the Thrawn trilogy, and of course, Mandalorian, because I consider both of them canon. We'll see how long Mandalorian stays canon. Just, don't know what Disney, Star Wars, and Lucasfilm and Kathy Kennedy are going to do. We'll see. Overall, though, guys, just because of how amazing the story is, the character development, the struggles, the dark storylines that Matthew Stover was able to tell. Matthew Stover was the author of Revenge of the Sith as well, the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, and he does a great job with that. I've read that, would recommend reading it. Overall, guys, just because overall this story is just so amazing, Luke Skywalker gets a great character development, a great character arc, all the characters get, definitely all the characters get some development, and it was the true beginning of the expanding universe. This is where the expanding universe truly begins, is with this book right here. Technically speaking, in terms of after Return of the Jedi. The expanding universe starts with the Old Republic, reaches down all the way to here with Shadows of Mindor, starting the expanding universe after Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Mindor, overall, guys, I can easily say this book right here is a 10 out of 10. And I ain't just saying that because I love Luke Skywalker. I'm saying it because it is that good of a book. It does get a little slow in places. It can be a little monotonous. And some of the chapters are extremely long. But if you're willing to stick it out and, you're interested in reading this, I can easily recommend this book to you. But anyway, guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? What are you guys' thoughts on? What is your episode 7? What is your canon? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't already so you never miss another video. Hit the notification bell so you never miss any videos whatsoever. And also, guys, make sure you do subscribe because it does help out the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on how I did with this video so I know how I'm doing in terms of, am I progressing? Am I getting better at making videos? Or do I need to do a lot more improvements? Which I'm sure I do, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think of Shadows of Mindor? Have you read it? Have you not? Anyway, guys, thank you guys once again so much for watching. For those that do watch, I greatly appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hope you're having a great summer. Staying safe, staying healthy, staying positive, trusting in God if you believe in God, or whatever you're doing in your life, wherever you are in the galaxy. God bless. Stay safe. And remember, the Force will be with you. Always. Take care, guys.